And so we've got melee creeps and Deadlock Dogs. It looks like band 1 is going to be DD. Again, that's El Leon's team. So we'll take a look at how they rock out. Again,
Vindicta?
A lot of these players are a little newer for me. So the Vindicta ban and the Paradox ban. Vindicta is not really a character that we see banned all that often. The Paradox ban on the other side, though, is... I mean, she's just an incredible, sort of like a long-range assassin, right? Between the swap and the shot.
Yeah, Paradox can be overwhelming to deal with, but I'm just more surprised Viscous wasn't being chosen. But what were you going to say? What were you going to say?
Like, what's kind of funny is that the Vindicta ban, Paradox is the counter to Vindicta. I'm using soft quotes, but like that's a nice counter. So you banned out the Vindicta, kind of interesting there. But Warden is going to be our first selection overall. I think this character is very, very powerful. He's just a W key frontliner. He doesn't even need to get the kill. He just needs to make you run away and create space for his team. Early in the game, watch out for those handcuffs, and the Haze Warden interaction actually got a little bit of a nerf with the change to Sleep Dart, so might be something to look at.
No, definitely. Warden is actually one of my favorite characters in this game. Second favorite character. I think 7 is the coolest, but I do love playing Warden the most. And yeah, I think Warden is just one of those characters
I'm making
that...
fun of you.
I'm sorry. I'm a noob. I like simple characters and stuff. Oh, it doesn't seem like... It looks like maybe the Warden pick was an accidental pick.
Okay.
Maybe they're discussing it. It could happen. Maybe they're realizing that Warden is a character that they're safely going to be able to do.
Warden, so he'll come back. Let's read the real quick the Warden patch notes here, whether we see him or not. The fire rate, spirit power scaling reduced. Thumbs up. It was minuscule though. Last stand resistance reduced from 60% to 30%.
Yeah.
And last stand now only goes on cooldown for 20 seconds when interrupted rather than a full one. I like that change.
Oh, they went pocket instead. Instead of Warden, they went with pocket.
Yeah. Some interesting changes to Warden. The pocket coming through first and foremost makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Warden was a spoiler. It's going to be on the other side, so we'll get there. But pocket, you want to talk about initiators. This is one of the premier characters. Not a lot of crowd control, obviously, but you want to talk about making people run away like Warden does. Pocket does that, and emphatically so. A character that is generally considered high tier by much of the community, and Warden going to be answered on the other side. So frontline for frontline.
I do think Pocket actually did receive like a slight nerf in this patch as well, but I don't think it matters. If a good Pocket player can get the value that they need, it won't make a big difference because the amount is, in their opinion, minuscule. But now we see that they chose both Warden and Wraith. You see this, the first team gets to ban first, and then the second team gets to ban second. First team gets a pick first, and then we get 2 picks for the second team. Warden Wraith, that is a strong, aggressive duo. What do you think about that?
Warden Wraith, I mean, as far as the duo is concerned, we'll see where it all lines up. Happy to see Wraith picked here. I think that Wraith is one of the stronger carries in the game. Europe knows about it. North America, we're not really seeing Wraith picked this early. Wraith, one of the characters with bigger changes last night. The ultimate is now, it's not a force choke anymore, it's a force choke slam, stunning the target for 2.5 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a big deal. Bigger though, the telekinesis projectile speed increased from 650 to 750. What do those numbers mean? But it's faster, and people run away from it, so that's a good change. Mirage and Viscous on the other side, and then Dynamo selected here for the melee creeps.
Man, Viscous being like Viscous wasn't even banned, but picked third on this team. That's very surprising. I just feel like maybe this team doesn't have a strong Viscous. They may have even just picked Viscous here because they don't want the opponent to play Viscous, because Viscous can just be so overwhelming to deal with, especially when they start just completely piling. Yamato and Dynamo, though, I mean, these are just some picks that I'm super excited to see. Mirage in particular, I haven't seen much Mirage at the highest level, but I want to see how people end up showcasing that in Deadlock in this tournament right now.
Yeah, Mirage, fantastic poke in lane, and obviously fantastic. Split push, not necessarily part of the kit, but the ultimate allows you to teleport across the map. So by way of that, it works out pretty well. Yamato here, I think we've seen 3 iterations of the Yamato, and I like this iteration for sure. Teamed up with the Shiv. So my issue here with the Deadlock Dogs is lack of a real traditional kind of front line. I need this last pick to be like an Abrams or something.
Yeah.
I look across the way, and when I say front line, I also mean initiator, and there's a distinction there, but whatever. I'm looking at Warden, I'm looking at Dynamo. These are your guys that are going to start a fight, they're going to get everybody together, and they're going to go ahead, and Lash is also in this conversation, and that Lash takeaway from Deadlock Dogs, it's hurting them.
The melee creeps team composition, in my opinion, feels a little bit more balanced than the Deadlock Dogs. The Deadlock Dogs, Yamato, Shiv, I feel like they fulfill a little bit of a similar role at sometimes with the way that they're trying to get those like big picks. But I just feel like you're right. If we don't see like an Abrams pick or something here, okay, going with Kelvin. Kelvin can fulfill that to an extent. It just depends on how, which items they choose, which way they end up building the Kelvin. But so I don't hate it.
Your tanks here for Deadlock Dog? Pocket and Shiv? Yamato is going to be a tank as well here. In a weird way. Like, she's that WP assassin. Her most recent change. It's the way that it all winds out. But we're headed out to the Big Apple, folks. Deadlock Dogs versus Melee Creeps. Welcome to Space Station Gaming's Underground. It's Deadlock time. And we're jumping in for the first time around. So, real quick, taking a look at the lanes. It's the Pocket Geist matchup and the Mirage Wraith matchup on the outside solos.
Yeah, we got the Shiv over here just by Shiv's with the Viscous against the Lash and Ivy. They're just going to be trying to farm their souls as fast as possible. I think these characters need to make sure to get these. Shiv in particular, I feel like, is not the strongest super duper early game when it comes to like just farming souls like other characters.
He's problematic because he's got to get a little closer by way of the shotgun, but he's looking for a long range poke out of the knife. Interesting choice here. Sometimes we used to see like a two players push over in the solo lanes, give their team a lead, and then go back into the normal 1-2-2-1 split. We don't see that this time around. Just a kind of standard ranked game mentality here, and I think heavy pressure from the Sapphire squad of Melee Creeps in this lane number 3.
Yeah, the Warden already getting in there with the Dynamo. I mean, Warden Dynamo is just such a strong combination early game here too. There's a guy, you get Warden able to just walk in kind of for free, kind of just putting the fear of God in their eyes when it comes to his handcuffs. And on top of that, you got Dynamo just over here able to keep the Warden alive. And look at that, they're already putting so much pressure onto this Guardian.
Just keeping the enemy around the corner. And this is a great look. Because of how early it is. There's a lot of homework to do in these lanes, and so once 3 minutes hit, the breakables start coming out, and then once the smaller camps spawn, you really have no reason to stand on the opponent's porch and just annoy them like this. So this pressure is really, really fun right now. They're going to go for the invade here. Smart choice because they have that pressure. A lot of times I see people standing on the tower, and I'm like, what are you getting out of this? That's what they got out of it. They got the room to go for the invade, and it works out well for the Melee Creeps. Yeah,
so far it's looking pretty good for the Melee Creeps there. Like, they're already having a pretty strong soul advantage. Like, not that much strong. Like I said, early game, it's kind of like very minimal number differences, but I'm liking what I'm seeing already, though. They're definitely abusing the fact that their composition just feels a little bit stronger to go for these pushes, and are just being more aggressive with it for that reason.
Playing the composition well, for sure. Yamato has some early game prowess, but wasn't really allowed to get into it. You want to talk about early game prowess, though? This is her. Lady Geist, the base value on all of her buttons are huge, but she ain't got no buttons. As Sparky shows up and just dives on in, that's really what Pocket looks for. The moment to just dunk. Gets it done.
Yeah, Pocket saw the Lady Geist just in a kind of not great position to escape there. She just was playing a little bit too deep with how little health she had at that point. So Pocket just took full advantage of it. Now we're seeing a fight between Yamato and Warden.
That's that damage out of the Yamato that I was talking about. Gotta be aware. And Warden immediately chased back.
No, and just buying stuff, just playing smart. You don't want to afford to lose any more deaths right now. It's not really worth it because the respawn timer just starts really stacking up and stuff the more you die in this game. But yeah, he's just being really clever with like just his positioning, just trying not to be too aggro, just get those souls.
Well, because again, there's no reason to. Before, in the early 1-2 minutes, be aggro, stand on their porch, make them go around the corner, and then you can farm their camp, etc. Right now, if you all out pressure them, maybe you get the kill, hooray. But if you don't, what do you gain, right? So
No,
like,
you have more to
there's
lose.
no reason to go all in.
Yeah, definitely. Just way too
Smart
much
play.
to lose early on. But here we got. Seriously, the Dynamo gonna just also just put himself in a safe position as well to just start pushing. Yep. Gonna keep farming this. Just the early game of Deadlock is gonna be like this until somebody makes a big mistake. It's just gonna be a pretty safe, like wall to wall, just like trying your best to defend your Guardian, push these things, gather your souls until you finally get that ability to use your ultimates and start making real pushes.
I really want to bring attention to this, though. This is very cool. So we're seeing a lane swap here. This and Kelvin is immediately going to read it and run all the way back. So Dynamo was actually in the solo lane that entire time. Now looking for the ultimate, getting 2 players wrapped up in here. Here's some help for the damage. A punch is not going to be enough. Got to find some extra bullets after the fact. And, well, that's one dead Kelvin. 2 players in blue jerseys wind up with the W there. And a little bit of the lane swap. Like I said, they just got back from lane number 4. So maybe caught players a little bit off guard there.
Yeah, there's definitely some action going on between Lash, Ivy, and Viscous here. It seems like something is happening in that lane. Lady Geist just doing her best to just farm some souls as well. Doesn't want to play too aggro, gonna get caught by that pocket, but the pocket's no longer in that lane. The pocket has now is still at base.
She killed the pocket.
Yeah, she killed. She's not. That's how.
That's why he's not in the lane anymore.
So far they've been able to trade so far between Lady Geist and pocket right now. 1 trade each.
And that's a huge play by Lady Geist there. Lady Geist has to be aggressive in order to do what she does with the whole health swap and health drain type thing. And after you kind of die from being too aggressive, it can be a little hard to kind of get back on that horse. But she goes right on in there and goes, okay, I made an oops, let's try it again without the oops, and gets it done. So very important that you get the kill because it equalizes the souls. You can see 4.8 versus 4.8. But almost more importantly to me, the mentality is still there. She's still playing Geist.
Yeah, overall, though, the melee creeps at a strong soul advantage right now. Like, a majority of people around the 5K mark were the majority of Deadlock Dogs not getting there. Like, we have a couple people still in the 3,000s, but it won't matter. Like I said, like, if they can get some really big pushes here, like that soul discrepancy in the early game, it's very negligible. We see Shiv getting a nice pick on the Lash. Wow.
Important pick here for Shiv, Elion. That's this team's captain right here. Andrew, I want to see how he's going to play the Shiv, actually. I'm expecting it to be the tank. Elion generally plays a lot of these initiators. We see Lash out of him. We see Dynamo out of him. And so seeing him on the particular Shiv, not really a character that a lot of players or a lot of teams go to be that, like, tanky frontline annoyance, but why not is largely the ask. He's got an execute. So as a result, you can not build damage and still contribute damage because it's percent based. You know what I mean? You know, they need to scale. So totally can walk into the direction of being a tank.
We are seeing 3 of the yellow teams of the Deadlock Dogs in the 3rd lane right now. And it seems it's pushing back the melee creeps a bit from this 3rd lane. I think they're going to back off. They're going to back off because they don't want to leave that 2nd lane completely open for Lash and Ivy to just push for free.
Also, just the wave. I think that's one of the bigger things that we've seen changed. All right, Ivy a little stuck here. No, just thinking better of it. No real follow-up there, so nice ult, buddy.
Nice
Here comes
ult.
Dynamo, a little bit late. And, okay, creating space. I don't hate it, my bad. Ivy goes ahead, drops the bomb, and that makes everybody run away. They bring the Guardian down to about 20%, but unable to finish it. Viscous rolling around in the ultimate, only going to nail 1, and his teammates are gone. So if they wanted to finish it off, there was just a lack of communication there, and the dive was not followed up by. Rough.
Yeah, because Viscous definitely captured one that could have instantly died there if their team was there, but the team was not there. Maybe they thought they had to back off. A little bit of miscommunication definitely could have happened there. But now we're seeing Dynamo fighting off. There's a full team battle happening. Sorry, on the 3rd lane. 3 versus 3. I think they're all backing off from each other. They don't want to have to deal with any deaths because the moment once someone dies, it can start becoming really bad. We're getting some Guardian kills though.
Watch lane 1. Yeah, we've got Lash running away from here. They just look for the Guardian. I think it fell. No, it's still standing actually, and I thought that was going to be a mess. It looked like Shiv really wanted to start a fight, but opted away from it. So,
yeah,
a minute until bridge buffs. Got to keep an eye on that part of the map.
Oh, true. And right now, the blue team is looking really strong. Melee creeps already knocking out 2 Guardians. 2 of the 4 Guardians. If they can knock out 3, I mean, that'd be pretty nice. If they knock out all of them before they even knock out 1, that would put them in a pretty solid position. You're just... Oh!
Here comes Lash over the top. Going to find the ultimate onto 2 players. The dive kick is strong, and Sparky taking a ton of damage. But it's 3 separate players on top. 2 for Deadlock Dogs go on down. The ultimate out of Viscous, going to try and disrupt, but it comes a little bit too late. And trying to find the last hit on the lady. Geist can't find the grenade. Eventually gets the last hit after the fact, but Pixel could go down for the count as well. This duel here. Wraith gets the backside, and she wins it.
Oh my gosh, back to back to back, everyone here. Right now we're looking at the amount of players that are still up. It seems like they've managed to successfully even it out. It wasn't a humongous push. Even though Lash was able to get those initial 2 picks, the amount of damage the team took, the melee creeps could not successfully make it a big defense. And in the end, the Deadlock Dogs are able to take down a Guardian for it.
It's exactly what the Deadlock Dogs needed. Melee creeps have... You mentioned it earlier, just more map presence so far. Strong stuff as far as lane 1 guard down, lane 2 guardian down. Looks like lane 4 the only one that's up. So melee creeps finally get involved in the objective game. They nail that guardian in lane number 1, and it looks like lane number 4 as well is down for the count. Ivy gonna pick up the urn here.
Oh, they got the soul urn. Can they get it though? Can they actually earn the urn?
Nice.
They could also be using it just to try to get, just kind of bait a little bit here too, to get the teams to try to coalesce, make a big fight happen. But we're gonna see what ends up happening here with the Mirage player.
Ivy's already made it to lane number 3, and you called it. 4 players in yellow jerseys coalescing around the urn zone. Dynamo's here from blue team to help out Ivy, but that's it. The rest of the squad is in lane 3, or excuse me, in lane 2, pushing against a solo Viscous. I think that this was a bait, like you said. Grab the urn. Ivy has no intention of going in there, and they're just going to push into lane 2. Viscous versus the Warden and the Lash. Over in lane 2. Yamato's going to come and play defense as they walk onto the walker over in lane 2.
Yeah, meanwhile...
I think they might want to stick here. Yamato's chasing them away.
Yeah, it seems like they didn't actually fall for that solar bait there. They didn't even get distracted by it whatsoever.
They did!
Oh, they did?
They're on the walker!
Oh, they're on the walker. Oh, my lord.
Yamato goes into the ultimate, and she's chasing down the front line. Warden down for the count after all 3 abilities. Now following up onto the Lash, finds it with the right click. And the defending Yamato gets the 1v2 under the walker. Nice play.
Jeez, the Yamato just did so much damage there. Meanwhile, Ivy does have the solar and trying to take it across the map right now. You got Wraith here dying to the pocket. But they were able to successfully take the soul urn. But was it worth it? It might have been.
Does not pop the ultimate there. If she brings out if she brings out that ultimate, I mean, might wind up winning the pocket. For me, that's a conversation. Wraith goes, I'm going to die here if I don't ult, and the team says we need it for next fight. Maybe? Just seems curious.
Lash haven't used the ultimate over here on the Shiv. It might be enough. Can Shiv get out? Get saved by the Viscous cube. That could be what we need.
That's exactly what he needed. And taking a look at the cards, yes, Shiv is this frontline tank, and he's going to be annoying. Dynamo, 1-man ult, follow up from the other players on the backside. Braden on the Wraith gets the last hit, and Viscous shows up consistently 5 seconds late.
Yeah, Viscous needs to be there a little bit sooner to get those saves. We saw a save earlier happen, but if you're not there consistently to help your team not get killed by these huge ultimates, you're kind of not doing the thing you need to do as Viscous, because Viscous can be the character that just like fully says no to all these ults.
Walker goes down in lane 2. Fight gonna commence. Knock up from the Dynamo lands on 2 separate players, and Mirage has to get on out. Don't think Pocket's going to TP there. Wraith now has the juice, down to 10% HP and trying to push against all of them. Lifesteal is good, but not good enough, as Yagu on the Yamato finds kill number 3.
Yamato's on fire. Yamato, you got me saying Yamato now. Look at you. Coolchi is able to kill the Pocket. Yamato going to ult immediately, just kind of trying to take down these Guardians as fast as possible. Just get the value out of it. Get those extra flex spots that we need. for them to get this big push going. I'm already seeing exactly how this composition works. They're so much better at securing kills on the side of the Deadlock Dogs. The melee creeps are, this is still feeling like a pretty favored towards melee creeps in terms of just souls. I just feel like the amount of kills that are happening on Deadlock Dog's side is something that can't be understated for how much less souls they have.
I think this will get scarier for Deadlock Dogs as the game gets later. Meaning, not because usually when people say that they're talking about scaling, I'm not. What I'm talking about here is traditional team fights. Right now, up until this point, you know, we're going to see bridge buff spawn at 15, and we might see minor engagements there. But up until this point, we've just seen like 3-on-3s. We've seen a couple of catches where I think this kind of W key approach of Shiv and Yamato's not a tank, she's just killing you, but it works out in those moments. Once we see the all-in Dynamo ult with Lash lashing you up, that might be where Deadlock Dogs really start dropping it, because again, I'm with you, I see the soul differential, but DD feel like they've been playing well in these moments, but when it comes to team fight time, might turn around.
And turn around, they might. Elion killing the Lash. However, another urn being picked up from Ivy on the side, so maybe Ivy can get through with it, but right now I feel like Ivy should have been with their team, because there's 5, no, count it, yeah, we have 5 whole players aggressively pushing these walkers. There's going to be a team fight happening right now, unless they completely get out. They took the walker down, they're just going to rotate, split up, not cause too much chaos. Warden ulting.
Yeah, Warden wants to catch him on the backside. Mirage going to get away by use of the Tornado. Warden giving damage to 3 separate players, and AVG will find the last hit onto Elion. Warden did a ton of damage in that team fight, continuing out, but won't finish the pocket. Intelligent combination with Kelvin going downstairs as well. Back up on the surface, it's a 2-on-2, it's a 4-on-4. And Yamato falling down immediately turns the tides into melee creep's favor. There's the chase down. Brayden finds the choke on 2 separate players. And we got a traditional team fight, and it all went the way of melee creeps.
And now, because of all the amount of players on Deadlock Dog's side being dead, they're going to push to the mid-boss here. This mid-boss could be huge if they can successfully get it without anybody trying to go for a steal, a bit of a yoink. It doesn't seem like the whole team is here, though. Only 3 of them. Oh, no, I see 4 of them. They got it. They got the mid-boss. Can they get the melee going without anyone randomly coming in, trying to steal? See how it happens. They get it.
There's
no way. There's 0%
chance. Yeah, nobody on Deadlock Dogs is going to look for that. Essentially, like, if you... A little bit later in the game, you might go for it, and if you die, who cares? But at this point in the game, if you die, you're not there for the next team fight, which, looking for melee creeps, their next chapter is really these tier 3s, or the defense onto this urn. Either way, not a situation that you want to really shirk.
Yeah, and Ivy's using the ult right now. Playing a bit aggressive, flying across the map. Looking for, I think they're just looking for the perfect location to drop that. Lash going in. Big ult coming out.
He's going to toss 2 players in to the corridor, away from the middle of the room. Again, melee creeps have the rejuvenator, so whole bunch of stats online. Yamato still thick as all everything. Warden trying to turn things with the ultimate and will bring Yamato down to half HP, but she's running. Nowhere to go, no chance to survive. Make your time up on the Warden. Gets the last hit on the fight that he done started. The tier 3s are now being attacked, Macro, and I think the shrine is guaranteed.
Those bases are done. They can probably get most of these base guardians killed and then just start attacking the shrine. You're completely correct. That Yamato could not get out. Like, they were trying their best to get out with their life. They just said, Yamato, no to that. And now the shrine, it's going to be theirs. Can they at least get 1 shrine here before
They're not
the entire
focused on it. They're looking instead for the tier 3s. So the difference, looking for those double guardians, you allow the minions to filter in. Without the troopers, it becomes a more problematic conversation for sure. But usually we see teams really prioritize this shrine. Look at the flex slots, though. There are 2 flex slots open that aren't being used for most of the players. They know that they'll get there so they don't need to force the shrines down the way you might feel if this was later in the game, more items online, and you were being limited by your lack of flex slots.
No, and honestly, with their stronger minions that they got from the mid-boss, it makes more sense to let these minions just run wild onto their base like that instead. So I can see the reason why they would go for those gate guardians instead. And honestly, now the point differential is kind of to a point where it's like kind of hard to ignore. 26,000 difference. The melee creeps are truly creeping in on the Deadlock Dogs here.
That's a big thing. Coming from different MOBAs, I think a lot of fans at home might kind of have this idea of like, you know, the Souls lead or whatnot. Two things here. One, there's an additional player on the field to a lot of the games that we're drawing our conclusions from. So if you're coming from like Dota or League or Smite or anything like that, your understanding of these leads are a little bit skewed. A 10,000 soul lead, a 5,000 soul lead, like, who cares? That's less than a tier 2 on every player on the team if you're talking about 5K soul lead. Once we start hitting 25 plus macro,
Oh, yeah.
This is where it is a lead. You do feel it because they have a tier 3 above you, right? Like you are feeling that. In which case, this next bridge buff in 20 seconds, the utmost importance for Deadlock Dogs to get this.
If they can get it, but I don't think, man, Deadlock Dogs are going to have to make some pretty smart plays here when it comes to using their ultimates and using their abilities at the right time just to make sure that they can get it to, oh, they're doing it. Hold up.
No, melee creeps are there first. Deadlock Dogs had no interest. That, I understand you don't want to fight here, but I would have at least shown face, you know?
They basically let the melee creeps get away with so many things. They got the solar in multiple times. They got like they just keep getting so many different extra things for free. They're getting the solar in again. like you're just it's just going to be a case of like if they're not going to stop them from playing these side objectives, like it's going to be a lot more difficult to come back.
I think that there is a lot of I'm not really that concerned with the earn most of the time, but Ivy certainly is. All 6 players in lane number 3. And it looks like melee creeps want to keep pushing in. Dynamo has a couple of players in the ultimate. In fact, it's 2. Down goes Viscous, down goes Shiv, and down goes Kelvin. A 4th eats it as well. And now 6 players walking in versus 2. We will see a respawn for Phase 2 Patron, but this Phase 1 Patron is guaranteed.
Yeah, it's pretty much open now. They're going to start shooting this Patron, but oh my god, this could be it actually. Honestly, with how many, all 6 of them are alive. Not a single one died. Not a single
We're
melee
gonna get one more fight. Everybody's gonna respawn.
Yeah, but like since not a single melee creep died, it's gonna be just a classic 6v6 here. There's no more guardians to help support it either. The minions are gonna be coming in pretty fast as well. Here comes Viscous.
On the left-hand side, Yamato's going to go ahead, pop into the ultimate. Viscous is here on time for first time all game. This could change it as he finds himself on the backside, and it's a 1-for-1 exchange so far. 2 players up top, and Lady Geist not really doing much work here. Viscous trying to find a target. Can't find somebody to fight. Viscous, you have to get involved. And the pit being focused on by everybody else.
So far it's still 5v5. Both respawning at the same exact rate as well. However, they choose to back out. They realize they're kind of getting weakened, a lot of ults. But in exchange, they did take out a lot of ults. Elion able to kill the Ivy on the way out. Can they get a couple more on the way out?
Necessary. Gotta chase this one. This is your moment. Down 30k souls. Elion's able to find 2 separate kills. Brayden bites back, and the Wraith being alive is one of the scarier players to be alive. She's going to go ahead, pop the ultimate, and avoid it. Nice play by the Pocket, but it's not going to be enough here. Wraith almost certainly confirms this.
Doesn't.
Unless Pocket wiggles away.
The Pocket completely wiggled away. Took the little hole down the middle towards the mid-boss. Wow, I actually thought the Pocket was 100% going to die there. That little just quick maneuver was just enough, and the teammate came in to help clutch and save Pocket there from the Wraith.
Pipe like Mario, bro. Just like...
just warp piped over here to level 3. You skipped all the way to the final level right there, and now we just got now Wraith is just over here farming these side minions over here just to get some free souls, keep it going. But man, it's the differential is a lot better. It's a lot tighter. It's 21,000. Before it was getting close to 30,000. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I think they still all have their ultimates and stuff ready.
Yeah. I mean that was a big moment for Deadlock Dogs. Getting the stop there was, I mean, necessary, right? If here's the unfortunate truth. That stop doesn't matter. So melee creeps are returning to base anyway. They're like, oh no, we bit off more than we can chew. And Deadlock Dogs, they chase them down, they get a bunch of kills. But there's no stuff after the stuff. Everybody's dead and they respawn. Well, melee creeps were already going home anyway. So you force them home, they're going to respawn and just come back. And unfortunately for Deadlock Dogs, that stop was inconsequential.
Yeah, especially with all the Guardians gone, absolutely nothing stopping the minions from starting to just start poke, get in there. They have to like control these lanes while simultaneously worrying about the fact that there's nothing stopping this team from making one big and final push, potential final push here for the win. But we'll have to see what they end up doing. Seems like a lot of thinking on the Warden's part here. They just want to buy the right exact combination of equipment and items.
Itemization, as far as I'm concerned, looks pretty standard. I saw Wraith. Look, can we ride along with Wraith real quick? Look how many buttons Braden has to catch up to you. Like, the slowing hex on the Wraith is just offensive. Like, you're not going to get away from my choke slam. I got you. And this is, I mentioned before how I was a little concerned, is the word I'll use, about Wraith being the only hard carry. A lot of times in these Deadlock compositions, we see paired carries. We see a Wraith and an Infernus. We see a Wraith and a Haze or whatnot, right? We see the 1-2 punch. Largely everything's on Wraith's shoulders with Geist. I think Geist is the secondary carry, and I'm doing a disservice to her with a personal bias. I just find it like harder to do what Geist does. I think she's more of a diver. I digress. It's not time for a podcast. Wraith has to do all the work, and she's doing it. So who cares?
I love that you did call that, because you were saying it like this Wraith would have to be like the strong carry here for this team's composition to get the damage, and she's doing exactly what you predicted, and that's why the team's working. That's why melee creeps composition is working as intended. It's doing everything it's supposed to be doing, but Deadlock Dogs still not out of this race yet. They still have a shot. They're still not completely out of the woodworks. We've seen Elion. Elion has been pretty damn accurate with these Shiv, just getting kills with Shiv pretty consistently. Truly leading his team to those pushes and can be the reason why they can defend. But another soul urn, another soul urn taken from this. Ivy is obsessed with soul urns.
I mean, these soul urns, like it's new bait. It's new bait. Your phase 2 patrons in the pit. They picked up the urn. If you defend it, you lose the game. So, you know, we run the urn. Either it's free souls or we win the game. I like this choice from melee creeps here. They are going to dictate this game. Either they can't break the base because despite their lead, Deadlock Dogs are strong. So they look for either the mid-boss or the fight around the mid-boss, and they're going to get what they ordered. Pocket already down to 40% HP. The majority of melee creeps just shoving in there. But look at Kelvin on the back side. That's going to be a big part of the control of this team fight, is the Iceman being able to control this from the back side, but Sparky on the front side, and a gigantic Dynamo ult wins the damn game. Up, up, up. Melee creeps on top.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the end right now. That mid-boss to bait them into a bad position there. They had no choice. They couldn't let them just get the mid-boss for free. Warden now just ulting. This Amber patron is completely weakened, and it looks like, and that is the first game going to the melee creep.